All right, let's talk about something that drives us coffee lovers absolutely nuts. We are going to uncover the one hidden variable that can completely make or break your morning brew.
You've totally been there, right? You spend some serious cash on a beautiful bag of beans, maybe a single origin Ethiopian or a geisha. You grind them fresh, you nail your brew method, and the result is just meh. It's flat. All that promised complexity, that bright, fruity flavor, where did it go?
Well, the culprit has been hiding in plain sight this whole time. It's not your beans, it's not your grinder, and it's probably not even your technique. The problem is the single biggest ingredient in your coffee, the one that makes up 98% of the final cup: your water. So what is it about water that can completely sabotage your coffee? Well, let's introduce our primary suspect in this little flavor crime. The villain of our story has a name: alkalinity. Now, hold on. Don't confuse this with pH or being alkaline. That just measures if something is an acid or a base. Alkalinity is different. It's a measure of the water's power to neutralize acids, its buffering capacity. And the main chemical doing all the work here is called bicarbonate. The easiest way to think about it is this: bicarbonate in your water acts just like an antacid tablet for your coffee. You take an antacid to neutralize stomach acid. Well, the bicarbonate in your water is doing the exact same thing to all those delicious, delicate flavor acids in your coffee. So let's picture what's happening inside your coffee mug. It's like a chemical showdown for flavor. And believe me, only one side can win. Okay, so on one side of the ring, you've got your coffee. It is packed with all these wonderful organic acids: citric acid, malic acid. That's what gives a great coffee its bright, fruity, complex character. And on the other side, you've got your water, loaded with those bicarbonate ions. The second that hot water hits the coffee grounds, the bicarbonates just go on the attack, completely neutralizing the very flavors you're trying so hard to extract. And this is what happens when you get that alkalinity wrong. If it's too high, say over 60 parts per million, your coffee is just going to taste dull, flat, muted. But if your alkalinity is too low, under 20 parts per million, there's not enough buffer, and the coffee becomes aggressively sour. Either way, it's not a great experience. So if too high is bad and too low is also bad, that means there has to be a sweet spot, right? A perfect target to aim for to get that perfect cup. Oh, you bet there is. After a ton of research, the Specialty Coffee Association has landed on the Golden Standard. The magic number you want to hit for a perfectly balanced, vibrant, and flavorful coffee is an alkalinity of 40 parts per million. That gives you just enough buffering to take the sharp edges off, but not so much that it erases all that beautiful complexity. But how in the world did we figure all this out? I mean, for a really long time, the entire coffee world was kind of flying blind on this. So let's take a quick look at the history of how we finally cracked the water code. Before the 2000s, it was basically the dark ages for water science and coffee. Water was just water. The focus was all on fancy equipment: grinders, espresso machines. But then, in the early 2000s, we had this scientific awakening. Researchers started to realize that certain minerals, like magnesium, were actually essential for pulling flavor out of the coffee, and they pinpointed bicarbonate as the acid destroyer. That discovery has led us to where we are today, where water is treated like a precise chemical reagent, a critical point of control for amazing quality. And this really shows you the level of detail we're talking about now. Alkalinity is the big one, the main flavor killer we've been talking about. But the full SCA standard also gives targets for total dissolved solids, that's basically all the other mineral content, and a nice neutral pH range. It's all about creating the perfect blank canvas for your coffee to shine. Okay, so knowing all this science is one thing, but how do you actually use it? How do you take control and start brewing better coffee at home right now? And you know what? It's actually way easier than you might think. Step 1, get the tool. You can find a super cheap water alkalinity test kits or strips online. Step 2, measure your water. Just see what you're working with straight from your tap. And step 3, aim for the goal. Once you know your starting point, you can start making adjustments, like using a specific filter or mixing bottled waters to get as close as you can to that 40 parts per million gold standard. So why does all this matter so much? This quote really says it all. You pay a premium for a coffee because of where it came from. It's terroir. High alkalinity water can completely wipe out that unique character, turning a gorgeous, fruity Ethiopian coffee into something totally bland and chalky. It's like you're just pouring that money and all that beautiful flavor right down the drain.
So, the next time you go to brew a cup, think about that 98% you've probably been ignoring. Now that you know the secret of alkalinity, you really have to ask yourself, is my water the final key I've been missing to unlock that absolutely perfect cup of coffee?